All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about these DOGE stimulus checks that could be up to $5,000. I am very excited about this, not because I could potentially get $5,000, but because this is a brilliant psychological play that will convince the American people that it is a good thing to massively cut the government. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. So there's been a lot of talk, and I've seen videos on YouTube. I saw Meat Stroker, I saw Andre Jerkoff, and a bunch of other people talking about these new $5,000 stimulus checks that we're going to get. And the concept is that if we are able to cut $2 trillion of spending from our government, and we divide that over the number of tax-paying households, we could potentially distribute up to $5,000 back to every American household. Now, this is going to be potentially because of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Trump got elected. He appointed Elon Musk to run this quasi-government consulting, whatever it is, thing. And these DOGE individuals are going to each federal agency, and they're axing wasteful and fraudulent spending. And they're doing overall a fantastic job, and I'm very happy that they're doing it because I'm massively anti-government. But, I mean, they haven't cut enough, really, to make a huge impact. And we haven't even talked about entitlements yet. But the Department of Government Efficiency is slowly but surely saving money for the U.S. taxpayer by cutting stupid spending like diversity scholarships in Burma, which I don't know why we're paying that. But then again, America loves diversity. So that doesn't surprise me too much. But the reason that I like these new DOGE stimulus checks, which I don't think are going to be $5,000. I don't think they're going to be able to cut $2 trillion of spending. And I don't think we're going to get $5,000 checks. But this would be a huge psychological victory for the American people, because I think a lot of Americans don't realize how much the government is ripping them off, how much the government is conning them, all the way from people that don't make a lot of money, all the way to the super rich. Now, if you don't make a lot of money, you generally don't pay a lot of federal tax. You get tax credits, especially if you have kids, daycare, et cetera, et cetera. But you still pay payroll taxes. That's right. You still pay Social Security and you still pay Medicare. And that is, if you add it up and you include the employer portion, 15.3% of your earnings. The government is taking 15.3% of your earnings, half from the employer, half from your paycheck, and they're sending that money directly to old people. It's not going in a savings account. It's not being invested. It's being sent directly to old people. It's a Ponzi scheme. That's kind of messed up. I don't really like that. And part of that expense is also going to the people that administer the Social Security Administration. So if we do a lot of reforms with Social Security, which we need to do, that can have a material impact on your well-being, even as a person that doesn't make a lot of money. And then you move up the income chain to middle class, upper middle class, low wealth. And those people get hit even harder because they pay an astronomical amount of federal tax. Up to 37% of their income is taxed and sent to the federal government. And where does that money go? It goes to line the pockets of the military contractors, and all the federal employees and all their BS programs that do absolutely nothing. And there is no lower life form in the United States than the slug federal employee, who on average, there's some good ones, but on average are lazy, incompetent, and are simply there to collect a paycheck, and are probably DEI hires, either through the military. Military gets preference. If you serve in the military, you can actually basically get a guaranteed job with the feds, or through racial quotas. That's the federal workforce. So you as a taxpayer, you go out in the real world, you go out there, you work hard, you get a huge chunk of your paycheck taken away, and that paycheck gets sent to a federal employee who does probably a quarter of the work that you do, sits around on their fat butt and does absolutely nothing, and they probably make more than you, because I've worked for the feds, and I work in the private sector. Federal employee salaries are inflated relative to the private sector. They're massively inflated. So these people do a quarter of the work. They make more than you. They get all these benefits. They get pensions. They get a huge amount of sick leave. They get a ton of leave. They get all these freaking holidays off. They basically can't get fired. And they're the ones that are grifting you. But most people don't really realize that, okay? They think it's the billionaires that are grifting them. Now, some billionaires are grifters. That's true. But on average, most people are billionaires because they started a company that provides massive value goods and services to society. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, blah, 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 blah. That's how most billionaires are created, unless they inherited the money. But the real grift is with the federal government because they have the power to tax. They give themselves a ton of benefits that you don't have in the private sector. Because if you're in the private sector and you get fired or there's layoffs or your company doesn't return a profit, you can just get let go. You don't have a pension. You don't have anything. You don't have any protections. You don't have as much leave. You have nothing. The federal government hires the worst of the worst and they get the best benefits. That's the grift. That is the grift. The federal government is a massive scam. And it is fantastic. I support this 100,000%, what Trump and Elon Musk are doing. I don't like Elon Musk. Trump is kind of a grifter, but he's funny. But what they're doing with the government needs to be done. It is a good thing. And these DOGE stimulus checks are a psychological play, and it's brilliant. Because if an American taxpayer, let's say we all get $500 per household. Here's $500 back. Because Trump's talking about sending 20% of the money saved back to the American people. That's kind of the proposal. It's not really been voted on or actually enacted in Congress yet. But let's say Trump and the Congress, whatever, send back $500 to every American. And they say, hey, we were able to send you back $500 because we cut the jobs and the expenses for worthless garbage and for federal employees who are paid more than you, have better benefits than you, can't be fired, and just overall are completely taken care of by the government. What do you think the American people are going to realize? Wow, if we cut government, I can get some money back. I got $500 in the mail because some fat lard bucket, former military, federal employee who couldn't get a real job in the real world, got their money or got fired. Oh my God, we cut a scholarship to, trans you-know-what in Nicaragua. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, obviously, if we were reasonable, the money should go to reducing the deficit. It shouldn't just be sent out to Americans. But just the psychological play of saying, hey, we're going to give you your money back that was taken from you by force to pamper these entitled, disgusting federal employees. We're going to give it back to you. People will massively increase their support for DOGE. And we could potentially dismantle the federal government because the American people will realize I get paid if we cut out these clowns, and they'll support it. This is actually a brilliant psychological ploy, and I'm behind these stimulus checks 100%. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get $5,000. Okay, if we do, I'd be shocked. Anything's possible. I mean, maybe we'll get $10,000. But even $500 or $1,000 is pretty freaking wild when you consider all the waste, garbage, and degeneracy that's going on in the federal government. So God bless you, Donald Trump. God bless you, Elon Musk. I can't believe I'm saying that. But I support you 100%. You should send a DOGE stimulus check, even if it's just a couple $100. That would be brilliant. And make sure you tell the American people this is taken out of the pockets of grifters, lazy people, and clowns who have been scamming you over these last couple of decades. Have a wonderful day.